What's up, guys? I am back. I'm sorry I've been AFK. I've been MIA a bit past few days. I went from uploading 2 to 3 videos every day to straight up gone for like 4 days. I had a kind of an unexpected training course that I ended up taking and being a part of. So that was really cool. I'm exhausted, but got some other really cool stuff in the works. And no, I'm not able to share details about any of it, but a lot of you guys have reached out to me asking about, hey, is there a um, team that I know of that's looking for people, or you know, International Legion, you want to join, anything like that? Shoot me an email. Right now, I've got a bunch of people looking for spots, and I can get you in touch with the right people. With that said, I want to jump back into a reaction video real quick. My name is Saxon. I went by Vegas in the International Legion. I joined the Legion in January of 2023. I'm no longer in the Legion, but I'm currently working on some other stuff here in Ukraine. Before I came to Ukraine, I was a firefighter and an EMT outside of Fort Worth, Texas. So let's jump into this one. We're gonna start off with this one, you guys. This is the Chosen Company. A lot of you guys know we've done a few episodes on them before. This is a new video. It's called Violence of Action, and I believe that it is the continuation of their first video about the bloodiest battle in Chosen Company or whatever. But this should be really cool. I don't know any of these guys in Chosen Company personally. I know a lot of people that know these guys, but I've never met any of them personally. All I can say is, based on these videos, they seem like they're pretty solid soldiers, and I'm excited to see what they got in this video. Let's turn this up. It's an hour-long video, so we're gonna do a part 1 and a part 2 like we do with longer videos. And I'll shut up and let's jump into it.
Hold it. I've got a broken leg, you don't realise. No, I'm good, just go.
Alpha, do you have eyes on Charlie? Alpha, do you have eyes on Charlie?
There's nine. How many we got injured? How many we got? Two.
Like when I first got to the unit, that first night, getting woken up 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, I don't remember, but some of the guys that were on the op started, they came into our bunkers and that's when they started filling us in, talking about how they got fucked up, that it was, the operation had basically become chaos. We found out that out of the 40 plus guys that went out, they had like 26 casualties with 2 KIA. And so right then and there,
Hold on, I want to hear those numbers again.
out of the 40 plus guys that went out, they had like 26 casualties with 2 KIA. And
So over 50% casualty rate and 2 KIA on that mission. If you haven't watched the Bloodiest Battle of Chosen Company Part 1 and Part 2, they're on my channel. Very cool. Quick recap. They had this operation that they had planned out, and they were going for it full speed, and they had Chosen Company broken up into Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, I believe, 4 different squads, and they were all attacking a fortified Russian position from different angles. And basically, it just went to shit. They thought there was going to be a couple of dug-in Russian positions that they could just smoke out, throw some grenades in the bunkers, blah blah blah. But then drones started coming up, artillery started coming, airburst artillery, mortars, and they just started getting absolutely annihilated. It's one of the crazier combat operations I've watched in this conflict. So that's kind of a quick snapshot. This looks like it's just after all the chaos. Let's see what's going on.
so right then and there, within my first 72 hours of being in the unit, it was kind of a stark reality check, that this is what we're fighting.
Chosen Company, Violence of Action.
Op shovel. This is our third mission attacking a trench. This is like what we were,
This is Dave. If you haven't seen part 1, part 2, he was squad leader of Bravo. He was way up, like way ahead of everybody, to the point where kind of shit was just popping off. He got so far ahead of everybody that the main focus of the enemy fire was behind him. So everybody was getting fucked up behind him, and Dave was up front with a couple of his other guys in Bravo, and they're like, we need to go back. They started getting comms that, Delta was black. They had no comms. They lost their radio. Charlie was taking casualties in the KIA, blah, blah, blah. And I might be wrong. This sounds like they're talking about Operation Shovel, which is different than the last operation. I could be wrong. Let's see.
what we train for the most and what we're, I guess, most comfortable with. It's a nickname we gave it because on the drone footage, there was a shovel on top of the bunker there. So we gave it a name everyone could recognize.
Well, originally we were supposed to attack the PKM position. I said, fuck that, let's hit them. The whole blow past the uterus joke. I asked Kozak. Kozak said we were crazy, but is it possible? I was like, yeah, we can do it. Our whole goal there was to cut off like a 8 or 12 man Russian position and then kill everyone behind them or capture them. And basically the Ukrainians would then push a like 6-man team forward and hopefully get the guys to surrender. Because like the guys in this position were like contract soldiers. They weren't Storm Z. They were experienced guys that, they wanted captured.
About a week prior to when we were actually expected to conduct the assault, we did two.
I bring this up in every video, but we have a lot of newcomers. This is Posadka, these little, long strips of wooded area that divide up farmland. These Posadkas are where this entire conflict takes place. All the trench lines, all the fortifications, all the foxholes, everything is in these Posadkas, and like this little...
They wanted captured.
And it's just like this. Boom, 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 boom. So when you're infilling into a trench line, you get dropped off probably a couple clicks, let's say this way, we'll call that the west, right? And then you basically follow these Posadkas because it's the only... You can't even call it cover. It's the only concealment. And so you're moving along these, so you get to your trench line. If you're not taking any fire, you hop in your trench line. Anyways, this is where everything happens in this war. Unless you're in an urban environment.
About a week prior to when we were actually expected to conduct the assault, we did 2 route reconnaissance, and we went out there to essentially assess the route, make a determination on if the passage was going to be feasible for the Humvees, just because some of the pathways were severely deteriorated from falling down trees, craters, and various other obstacles. So we had to go out there and do the assessment and then also kind of get eyes on the objective. And because of my experience in the Army with driving Humvees, I figured that even though it sucks being a driver and kind of having a limited participation in the assault, it got me on the mission, and that's what I wanted.
So basically we were going to hop in Humvees, drive past the 0 line to hit a secondary line, and hopefully the Humvees would drive back out.
Yeah, minimal time with the Humvees because the Humvees would...
I understand what he's saying in regards to having less of a participation in the assault, but drivers, in my opinion, one of the most important jobs on an assault or on an infill or exfil, especially in this conflict where the terrain is just insane and you have to infill and exfil at night oftentimes, and you cannot have your headlights on. You cannot have those red lights that people think are better in nighttime situations. Good drivers are so important. A bad driver can not only ruin the op, but can get every single person killed.
immediately draw fire and draw attention, which works for the infill because now like the Humvees are armored. So once we get out, like people are just going to shoot at the biggest thing out there, which is the Humvees. So that's fine, you know. It's like, so like those would take up fire, and with the speed and aggression and with us leapfrogging, nobody expects that because they always expect the frontmost position to get hit. With us just going right to the rear, like those guys, like they weren't
threw
ready.
them off. They didn't. Yeah, the Russians didn't have a clue what the hell was going on.
The plan was, because it was like a right angle shaped trench. The plan was to do like a pincer movement and sort of like meet up in the middle, kind of.
Shovel being on the corner, it was like an L-shaped trench. And then the Russians, their forward position, 105, was approximately 50, 60 meters west of Shovel, and was shaped largely like a Y or a T. And that was their fighting position. And we believe Shovel was their rest area.
The idea was crazy, but like implementing it, like doing the planning, preparation, and then training for it, we actually went and found a trench that was similar in size and scope that we could train on. Because on this one, because what we were doing was, I guess, sketchy, I guess you want to put it, we were going to actually assault the trench from two directions, because there was like 20-some Russians in the fucking thing. So it was basically, we were going to pincher them so that we'd funnel them all into one area, and then you could just throw grenades at them all day until they're all dead. Initially, the 59th, our commander Kozak, got drone footage. We looked at it like for a day or two, and then we found out there was a bunch of anti-tank mines. So
shit.
Kozak went to the 59th Brigade, like the engineering guys, and they had the Miklik. We got the mines for a day or
See that
two,
again.
and then we found out there was a bunch of
All these anti-tank mines. That's crazy.
tank mines. So Kozak went to the 59th Brigade, like the engineering guys, and they had the Miklik. We got the mines all taken out for the anti-tank. Most, yeah. Well, we thought we hit them all.
And so we looked at ways of how can we sufficiently pack enough dudes on the Humvees that we had to conduct this operation. I pitched the idea, you know, like, what if we just took the back hatches off and stuck guys in the back? You know, you could take the hatches off there. It's pretty easy. You just gotta do some unbolting and then, you know, pretty much just lift them. And we kind of evaluated it, and eventually that's what we decided to do.
So the problem we were running into is we didn't have enough room in the Humvees. So we got the bright idea to pull the hatches off the back of the Humvee. I mean, the Ukrainians were like, you guys are stupid, but predominantly because you have an armored vehicle that you're now putting people in an unarmored spot. But like I didn't think we were going to be able to do it with 8 guys or 10 guys. So we needed to get, you know, more guys in the trucks. It was the only thing that we could do. They offered if we wanted like an open top Humvee. Like some of our videos, you'll see us assaulting with like a 2-door Humvee that's completely open. We turned that idea down just because we thought we were going to get smashed on the way in. Because like you're bypassing a Russian position, so all they have to do is turn and, you know, spray an open top Humvee and you're fucked.
For this operation, we worked with the Ukrainians. They had an assault team as well. And the idea for this operation was, so there were 5 Humvees. Chosen Company was in the first 3. And the Ukrainians were in the last 2. The plan was to drop off at both positions simultaneously. I was in the 3rd Humvee, like 3 assault teams, 2 assault teams, but split up into 3 Humvees. So the idea was the Ukrainians would stop at their position and we would stop at Shovel at the same time and dismount and attack both positions. This would make sure that the Russians in 105 couldn't fire at us while we attack, and that the Russians couldn't fire at the Ukrainians as they attack. So we had them both occupied at the same time.
When we finally got the call that, you know, mission was a go, we had a couple things that we had to do in terms of final preparations, staging points. And I remember we got to the very last staging point, got into the wood line, concealed the trucks, and got into the trenches that were there with the Ukrainians. And it was almost like a heartwarming moment because the Ukrainians that were occupying that trench, they had some potatoes and they cut them up and made like some homemade fries for us. And so here we were just hours before we were about to conduct the assault, and it was like the Last Supper hosted by.
Lots of examples like that happened in this conflict. We had one on the military base that the Legion was sharing with other Ukrainian units, and they invited us over for some homemade borscht that one of the commanders made, the Ukrainian commanders made. And we went over and had borscht, and a lot of the guys in the Legion had never had any borscht or anything really outside of American style food. So it was unique, it was cool. We're grateful for the food. The Ukrainians are grateful that we're there, very cool experiences.
Our friendly Ukrainians.
The mood for the shovel op was generally quite good. People were just really psyched because we had actual drone footage of like Russians in this actual fortified trench that we were going to assault. With Pervo 2, it was more a series of assaults that needed to be conducted over like a larger amount of ground, and there wasn't Russians in all of these positions, or we hadn't seen Russians in all of the positions. Whereas shovel was more of what I would call like an intimate situation. We knew 100% we were going to go and kill some fucking Russians that day.
Ready, boys? Here we go.
Eventually, we did get the call on the radio that the operation was a go, conduct the assault. We mounted up and exited the tree line and started the drive towards the 105-106 position. And driving the first vehicle, I could, in that moment, feel the weight of responsibility kind of weighing down on my shoulders, that this is my first mission in Ukraine. And the guys are relying on me to not get us lost, to make sure that I take the right paths and that I don't veer off the proven route. And so as soon as we departed and started heading, I could feel the anxiety start to build up. And then as we're making turn after turn, turning into tree lines to cross over into a new path, I could feel it build up. And as we're getting closer and closer,
He's good. What a day! What a lovely day!
The route there was really fucking bumpy. Obviously, the closer we got to these positions, the more shell-pocked the ground was. Lots of debris everywhere. It was, the closer you got to the position, the more it looked like you were driving into hell.
That's cool. Cool shot.
600 meters!
we made that final turn, the final turn to where from there it was essentially just a straight shot. And at that moment, it was shock.
Go.
This final stretch in front of me and how it looked nothing like what I remembered from the drone footage and how badly the drone footage translated to what I actually saw in that final turn. And then it was at that moment that it, you know, you really clicked in and just started driving.
We had 3 drop-off locations. My Humvee, the rear Humvee, was going to stop at the beginning of the trench. The middle Humvee, the center in the corner, and then the front Humvee was going to land towards, stop towards the end of the trench past the L. So we're already taking RPG and mortar fire as we're rolling up to the trench.
Fine.
I remember I was driving, just going focused, completely focused, looking, no mines, no mines. And then our medic who sat behind me just started yelling, "Stop, stop." And so I just slammed the brakes.
Go, 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 go!
Oh,
And shortly after we came to a stop, I felt and heard an explosion behind us. And then I couldn't see anything. Just dirt and smoke just covered our Humvee. And I had no idea what just happened.
come on, you know? Fucking shit show already.
I see the Humvee in front of me just blow up in a cloud of smoke and dirt. I'm thinking, oh fuck, they've hit an AT mine.
Get out, get out, get out! Just go!
Everyone in it came out okay, some light injuries, but you know they still survived and they still fought. We enter the trench after the Humvee, we start fighting. We don't know it at this time. We're taking fire from the other trench where the Ukrainians are meant to be. It turns out that their Humvee drivers dropped them a few hundred meters short of the objective. So the poor buggers had to run a few hundred meters all the way to the trench and then start fighting. But until in that time that it took them to get there, the Russians were sort of thinking what the fuck is going on and started, you know, firing at us, launching RPGs and shit. In my GoPro footage, I didn't notice it until recently, but you can see an RPG fly right across my head at the top of the screen.
Oh my god.
But because we were so fast and effective to get into the trench, as soon as we got into cover, they couldn't do anything.
I at first thought in the confusion that it was our Humvee that had been hit. I looked around, saw that all my guys were okay, but like I sort of realised we've got to get to the fucking trench at this point. So without the tactical bound, I kind of just moved forward.
Push up!
I get around the vehicle, Finian was there, Dota was there, Zeus fell off the Humvee, and basically from that point it was just start the assault. So we pushed the assault from there. Basically I yelled at the guys, get the fuck up, let's move. The third vehicle at that point was also dismounted. So their team leader, Dave, basically looked at me, I said push, push. On our side, so they pushed their guys forward, I helped get our guys up and moving. At that point, the driver's weapon had gotten blown up in the Humvee. So I basically threw my rifle to Dodo, and from that point on, I just ran with grenades and a radio on an assault. Not the brightest idea, but...
I looked around, the guys are getting out. I was like, okay, you know, everything seems fine. I think we're good. And then once I saw that everyone, the guys that were in the boot of my truck, as well as all the passengers had gotten out, they started getting online in front of me and conducting their bounding to get into the trench. That was my cue to go ahead and start leaving, because you can't sit there with the vehicles long. You have to get in, dump troops, and then get out as quickly as possible. Shortly after we left, I remember I was driving, I was looking for the path that I came in on so that I could ride the tracks back out. And I was going, focused, and then all of a sudden I just felt another explosion, and then the inside of the cab just filled with smoke. And so at that moment I was like, what did we just get hit by? So once we got to our staging point with the 2 Humvees, we started concealing the Humvees, and then I started talking to Shaggy, and trying to just kind of, even in that moment where it just happened, you're already trying to look back and kind of talk about what just happened. And then that's where we could see that our Humvee, the turret, actually took a hit from an RPG. And you could see where it penetrated on the left side of the turret, but then went through, double penetrated the turret and detonated outside of it.
Shit.
When we were looking at the turret, we knew which side it got hit on, at what point we got hit, and the angle that it came from and the direction, it was about 450 meters to the next Russian trench. And so when I realized that, the only thing I could think about was, these dudes came to play. I mean, hitting a moving Humvee from 450 meters with an RPG and unguided rocket, it's not an easy shot to do.
Bang out! Reloading! Go to fucking left! Let's go!
My team dismounts, so does the other team. So we had Alpha and Bravo group, and we both enter the trenches from different ends.
Got to the edge of the trench and started prepping frags ready to chuck in, make entry into the trench. There was still a lot of confusion. Obviously it was loud as fuck. Guys are shouting. Yeah, it was just pure chaos at first. Lots of explosions going off, all that good shit.
Hurry up! Frag it!
Oh!
Frag the trench to there! Moss, he's right there! He's right fucking there! Fuck! Moss, he's on the other side. Cover me, cover me! We need to get in the fucking trench, boys! Frag out! Go! Go to the left! Go to the left! Hey! He's here on the left, be careful! He's here on the left, be careful! Where? Here, right here on the left.
Managed to get into the trench, so I started to pie the corner.
Oh!
Mussy's hit! Man down! Man down!
And my operation unfortunately ended relatively quickly.
Where? Man down! Entrance to the trench! Oh, right there. Don't see that message, stay still! Roll back! Took a hit to the head.
At first I thought I'd been blown up because everything just went fucking slow motion. Next thing I know, I'm looking down at my feet and then I feel myself topple back and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. I thought in that moment that I was dead. there's a bit of a joke around the company that people say to me, am I dead? Because that was the first thing I asked after I'd been hit.
Mossy, stay where you are. You're not dead. Get down there. Mossy, you're not.
Fuck. Oh my God. That right there is a perfect example of why this conflict in these conditions, trench warfare, is so scary. Because this guy, whoever's GoPro we were on originally that saw the fucking Russian peek out, he knew exactly where he was. But the guy that just got shot, he was in front of him, he didn't know. So he's coming, looking across, looking over here, there wasn't enough, in my opinion, enough communication saying, he's right fucking there, right fucking next to you. You know, he did say that, though, to be fair. I mean, this guy, I think the GoPro we're on now, or the one over here on the left, was saying he's right on the other side, but the other guy didn't see it. God, that is gnarly. I kind of want to see that again, dude.
Here on the left, be careful. He's here on the left, be careful.
He's here on the left, be careful. He's here on the left, be careful. I mean, he is telling him to be honest, but this guy, the Russian, is literally just sitting there holding one fucking angle. Only holding this angle, waiting for that headshot, right? Someone, maybe this guy on the GoPro should have been up on top of him or taking a different route. And again, in my opinion, these guys have a lot of experience. If I had just seen the enemy right here in this position, I would try to either come out and around a little bit and try to get a different angle. I wouldn't just walk right into his potential ambush, you know? But it's easy to say after the fact, when you're sitting here watching the video.
Full. Where? Yeah, right here.
Managed to get into the trench, so I started to
Yeah, I mean, he told him. Fuck.
Corner.
Mossy's hit! Man down! Man down!
And my operation unfortunately ended like relatively quickly.
Holy shit.
Where? Man down! Entrance to the trench! I'm not dead. Can't see that much. Stay still. Roll back! Took a hit to the head.
At first I thought I'd been blown up because everything just went fucking slow
God,
motion.
that is bad.
Next thing I know, I'm looking down at my feet and then I feel myself topple back and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. I thought in that moment that I was dead. There's a bit of a joke around the company that people say to me, am I dead? Because that was the first thing I asked after I'd been hit.
Mossy, stay where you are. You're not dead. Get down there. Mossy, you're not dead.
After asking my boys if I was dead and then answering no, I was like, yeah, this is fucked. I think I might be paralysed. And then after about 5 minutes, the pain started to kick in throughout my whole body. So I was relieved to feel the pain, but it was pretty fucking bad pain. So, and I still couldn't move very well, but I could move. So I kind of realised in that moment I wasn't paralysed. All was not lost. Guy that had shot me from about 20 metres away down the trench. He was sort of like Haji firing over the top of the trench. You've probably seen videos of how the Taliban do it in Afghanistan, how they lift the guns up and spray over the top of the trench. Yeah, that's how this dude got me. He was already injured, but he was fighting on. He wasn't giving up too easy. So he was putting bursts of ammo over the top of the trench. He also hit one of our dudes in the head, like very shortly after.
Go back! Took a hit to the head. Mossy, stay still.
He luckily only grazed our friend's head, so didn't put him out of the game.
I got a sign on their bunker, I can bag it!
That guy actually then went on to kill that guy with frag. You've probably seen it in the drone footage. He threw a frag down the trench. The guy leant over to pick it up and blew himself up.
We get into the trench and we start clearing it.
Jeez, man. I mean, honestly, I don't know how you would have avoided getting hit like that guy did. There's so many variables. You can train and train and train. You know, you can argue that you should have attacked from a different location, or the guy that initially saw him should have communicated more. I don't know, man. I think it's so dynamic, and this kind of conflict, this kind of combat is so gnarly. You have to expect that this is just going to happen. You'll have to try to mitigate as much as you can, but these kinds of casualties are going to happen. With that said, I talk about this in multiple videos, but there's this conception that all orcs are shitty fighters. That guy right there is not a shitty fighter, even though he was doing what he said. He was blind firing over the top like that. That's not a very professional move. But the fact that he shot 2 Legionnaires in the head and tried to throw a frag grenade, that guy was no slouch. And it looked like he was alone. At least in this part of the trench, he knew damn well he was outnumbered and most likely about to die. And that guy decided he was going to take as many people out as he could. That's, wow.
Weapon up, weapon up. Let's go, boys, we're good.
A bit of a 20-meter length of trench. There's a little, not a bunker, but it's a spot with overhead protection.
Get down, get down, get down!
I was second man in, behind the first man, right behind him, and he's trying to get into the little dugout, and he's struggling. And as he struggles, I'm looking forward with my weapon up, and I see this Russian's head pop around the corner, and I say, "Oh fuck!" And me and my mate shoot him.
Weapon up, front! I'm good.
And then he disappears around the corner, so we don't know what happened to him at that point. So we do all that, we push forward, and we hold security on the front, and then me and my other mate clear around the trench.
Get into that corner, push left, turn to see. That's friendly double.
Wow.
Over here. Frag out! Frag out!
I think very few people understand the amount of balls that it takes to do what that guy just did. To fire at someone that's less than 5 feet away from you, not know if you killed him, and then peek that corner, knowing if that guy's alive, he's holding that fucking corner and ready to shoot you. And this guy just, what? Holy shit.
Get into that corner, push left, turn to see. That's friendly double.
This.
Over here. Frag out! Frag out! I'll get him. We dropped one. I have frag in front of him.
Wow.
Ready? Frag out! Yeah.
I'm too fucking heavy.
Get shot. Who's with me? Get a grenade in there, eh? Who's with me? Tennessee's back behind you.
Nothing's behind you, there's a short right here.
Can't see jack shit in there, dude. That is just a nightmare. That could be a dude just prone with a PKM or something, you know? Granted, they're throwing grenades into all of these areas, trying to clear it out to minimize the chance of someone just sitting there holding an angle on them. But Jesus, this is such a good video, such a good example of how gnarly these fights are. Actually, we're gonna leave it at that for part 1. You guys please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Again, my name is Saxon or Vegas. Call me either one. If you're looking for a team out here in Ukraine to join, please send me an email and I will message you on Signal. That's it. We'll see you in part 2. Love you guys.